Greetings, welcome to the Dr. J Vlog series. It is Saturday, September 27th, 2025, and on Saturdays we talk about sports and sometimes throw in a bit of humor, etc. So this week in the vlog series we've been talking about the planets and astrology, a few other things, but mostly about the planets. And I was trying to think of the connection between planets and sports, and I didn't really have a great idea, but I finally came up with something. So I thought I'd go to the old size comparison issue, which we'll get to in just a moment. But first, I think I've mentioned previously on this vlog how the ravages of time, of course, take their toll on all of us, myself included. Time spares no one. And then especially by the time you get to be in your mid-60s like myself, well, you just can't quite do what you used to be able to do. I love to play basketball. I still like basketball, but I don't really play that often. And more importantly, a slight brag here, I definitely don't have the physicality, the athleticism, obviously, that I used to have. So I used to be able to dunk a basketball on a 10-foot rim. That's true, for a few years in the 1980s. And the last time I did it, by the way, that I can remember, was in November of 1987. And this was at our old high school, W.T. Woodson, and one of my old neighbors, he was a younger guy than myself, Jimmy Nesbitt, was there. And if you're listening, Jimmy, or you are watching, you can attest to this. But I said, "Hey, you want to see me dunk?" And he said, "Yeah." And I dunked the basketball on one of the rims, on one of the side rims there. And then he said, "Ah, man, do it again." So I did. So yeah, I could dunk a basketball, at least up until then. But that was a long, long time ago. And now, as I've mentioned as well previously, my vertical is much more of a horizontal these days. I'd love to dunk again on a 10-foot rim, but that's just not going to happen for me. It's not naturally on the earth in this lifetime. But if I could travel to the moon, well, that'd be a different story, right? Because with the less gravity on the moon, you can jump, at least in principle, about 6 times higher than you can here on earth, okay? And so even if I only jumped a foot off the ground here, man, that means I'd be jumping 6 feet off the ground on the moon. So I'd be the Vince Carter times 2 at that rate, okay? Even on Mars, it'd still be great because you can jump over 2.5 times higher on Mars than you can here on Earth. Okay, so now let's talk about the size issue, shall we? So yeah, the idea that I had was, what if we were to think of the Earth as a golf ball? And how would the other planets there compare in terms of different kinds of sporting balls relative to the Earth? Okay, so yeah, first, Earth is a golf ball. I've teed it up there even. Okay, so can you imagine? So your standard golf ball. It's used on all the tours and so on. Imagine that the Earth is that size. So how big would the other planets then be? Well, again, we'll start at the innermost planet, Mercury. And so Mercury, of course, would be it's one of the smaller planets, obviously, and in fact, the smallest. And it would be the size, if the Earth were a golf ball, it would be the size of a child's marble. So really quite small by comparison. Okay, and then next would be Venus, and that's pretty cool because Venus is almost the exact same size as we are. And so it'd be another golf ball, almost literally, I mean, within just a couple of percentage points in terms of the diameter. So very close would be Venus. And so, yeah, we're just going to use another golf ball to represent Venus. Now, Mars is actually much smaller than the Earth. I don't know if you realize this, but it's and I couldn't come up with a good sporting comparison. I didn't have any specific ball that really worked. So the thing that I came up with was simply if you were to think of a very large piece of popcorn, like the biggest piece of popcorn you've ever had, because it'd have to be, again, almost, just over half the size of that golf ball. That is, Mars is just over half the size and diameter compared to our Earth. So, all right, and then next we go to Jupiter. Can you guess what that would be? I bet you can. If the Earth is a golf ball and Jupiter is about 11 times in diameter, we'd be a basketball. The Jupiter would be a basketball, I should say. Okay, so yeah, there you go. And then Saturn's also a huge planet, certainly relative to the Earth, but not as big as Jupiter, obviously. And it would be about the size of your standard volleyball. So again, if the Earth is a golf ball, Saturn's a volleyball. All right, then we get to Uranus, the 7th planet from the Sun. It's the closest thing I could find, I should say, would be the team handball. and probably not a sport that a lot of us spend a lot of time playing or necessarily watching. But nonetheless, it's going to be smaller than a volleyball, but you can see the kind of relative size there on the screen with the hand gripping it. So that's the thing, the closest I could come up with. And then the eighth and final planet would be Neptune. And Neptune would be even slightly smaller. It's almost as big as Uranus, but slightly smaller. And so there you see that's a rhythmic gymnastics ball. Okay, so yeah, it's slightly smaller than the team handball, but nonetheless, it's a pretty good comparison, at least relative to the Earth as the size of the golf ball. Okay, so no, did you think I'd forget Pluto? It's no longer a planet, as I mentioned earlier in the week, but nonetheless, it's a dwarf planet. And so, but it's actually quite a bit smaller too, smaller than the Earth. The Earth is over 5 times larger than Pluto. So the best thing I could come up with was those airsoft pellets, those pellet guns, and you can shoot those. Well, don't make sure you use eyewear, etc. But nonetheless, yeah, the closest in comparison is it'd be the size of an airsoft pellet. Okay. All right, and then, well, that's about it. But actually, no, I just wanted to mention one other thing. Do you think there's anything out there that's shaped like a football? That'd be kind of cool looking, right? Any celestial objects that might look like a football? Yeah, there is one. Oh, actually, there's more than one, but the one that I came up with is actually another dwarf planet, Haumea. Yeah, it's a Hawaiian name as such, right? But it's a dwarf planet just beyond Neptune. It's even smaller than Pluto. In fact, I mean, well, you can just look at the shape there. To me, that could be a football. It could also be almost like a rugby ball as well. But it has this incredibly unusual shape, which is the byproduct of its incredibly rapid rotation. It rotates in just under 4 hours. And over time, it's just that's elongated the object, the dwarf planet, into its triaxial ellipsoid shape that you see there. All right, so that's it, short and sweet today. Until next time, may you and yours continue to create peace in your lives, nurture love in your hearts, and dole out hugs in abundance. Oh, and just one request, other than hit like and subscribe. Fly me to the moon, please, just once, so I can dunk yet again before I die. I hope I can go there. Who knows? All right, we'll see you soon.